Hello, everybody. Welcome to our therapy sessions with the writers and producers of Therapy Sessions album. So I'm very excited to introduce you all to the wonderful people that we have right now. This is Lady V.
Hi.
And then she's an amazing writer, and we've been working for like 10 years together.
Yeah, 10 years, friends and writing.
It's been 10 years. And then we have the amazing, talented writer and producer, Paul Wally, with us as well.
Hello.
Paul in the studio, which I recognize when we wrote this song.
The iconic wall.
Which,
gives it away every time, the wall.
Yes. I mean, it's your signature. It's so signature. So I'm glad.
The brick wall.
Yes, the brick wall. But thanks the two of you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Even with pandemic life, it's crazy that we're on different sides of the world and still having to be living this pandemic life. It's just interesting how it's really a global thing. But
see how everyone's kind of dealing with it. Because it's a weird unifying thing because everyone's in it together.
Yeah, that's what's interesting. It doesn't people all over the world. I have friends in Russia, friends in Serbia, friends in South America, and they're all going through the same thing. I'll be like, "Hey, how are you handling this?" And we can all have the same kind of conversation, which is pretty weird.
Yeah.
How have you guys been handling it? Like, how has it affected your music world?
I'm loving it. Sorry, that's a terrible thing. I'm not loving, obviously, coronavirus, and I didn't love it when I had it either, because it was...
That's right, we had it.
I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Seriously, 25 days, and I was really lucky. I had a good COVID team, so they brought meds out to me because I refused to go to hospital. But yeah, it's... I think we were all so busy, and life was just becoming too fast, where I noticed towards just before lockdown, people were like not looking around when they were rushing around in London. And I think what it's given us is time to breathe and slow ourselves down. And I think for a lot of my music friends, when I've spoken to them, it's giving us time to evaluate and maybe just take a step back and like look at how we're working and how we want to work on in the future.
Yeah.
And obviously, because I mean, we were just talking about Zoom sessions, but obviously because I've got my home studio as well, I'm actually all right because I'm so busy working on some projects. I've got 5 vocals to do anyway and edit, so I've got months,
Stocked up for a while.
Yeah, I'm busy for a while, and then so I haven't had to deal with the Zooming sessions. But I mean, it's more frustrating because it's like, I know, David, we were talking about you coming over to stay again, like to do some writing and just hang out, and that's what's restricting. You can't see people and you can't hang out with friends and you can't get into sessions. You know what I mean, Paul?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that because it's limiting in some ways, but the thing it has opened up is like, I've been doing sessions with people in LA or people in Stockholm, like, and before we would have just written that off as like, oh no, we'll wait. Whereas actually, like, it's not ideal and it's not a replacement by any means to do the Zoom thing. And like some people I know have loved it because like, oh, I could do 2 or 3 sessions a day from the comfort of my living room and just sit here with my guitar and bash out 3 songs. Fine. But the fact that it's now opened up I want to work with this person in LA. Oh, we actually can because everyone's doing the Zoom call. The only thing is I have to start a session at 4 p.m. That's the only thing. So I've got a session with a Nashville writer on Friday. And that's like I think that's a 3:30 p.m.
Is it Nashville?
Nice. Yeah, I'm in Nashville.
Who are you working with?
Let me get his name correct. I don't want to mess it up. Henry Brill.
Do you know him?
Oh,
Henry Brill, who worked on a lot of the new Jack Garrett stuff, who's incredible. I've been dying to work
Nice.
with
I don't know him.
Awesome.
He was meant to be over here.
Really?
And then we ended up substituting it out for a remote session, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's great that it's opening up. There we are.
So I think, like, I hope that side of things will continue and there will be, like, remote sessions that will come out of this more, just because it's now been proven that it does actually work and you can write songs. I know some people, I mean, I've done probably about 15 of them and I've had 2 records placed.
Nice.
So it works definitely.
That's great.
Well, it's just adapting, isn't it, really?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
David, I mean, you've got this record release. Like, I mean, how exciting is it? Has it made you feel a little bit worried? Not worried, but like, because this is unprecedented territory, isn't it? Like, this is uncharted waters. That's the way to say it. So I mean, you're releasing an album, and I guess you can't go and do the meet and greets. You can't do launch parties. So it's about thinking really innovatively, isn't it?
Shows, yeah, it's made it very interesting for sure. What's neat about it though is I have so many other friends who are also they also happen to be releasing projects right now. So normally I wouldn't even know about that. Like it's because it'd be like busy in my own little world, traveling, doing my own trips and interviews. But now we're all on Instagram. So we see what each other's doing. We can help each other.
I saw you with John. Is it John McCreed? Oh, that was brilliant. I saw that.
Oh, Jonathan McReynolds.
Yeah, that's it. That's right.
Yeah, he has an amazing album out, and it's been really it's just been interesting. But I've really enjoyed it, and it'll be interesting having this new music out. But
I've enjoyed watching the videos. I've been loving the videos, the snippets of the songs. I've loved that.
Yeah,
that's the important thing. But again, it comes down to like adapting and working with what you've got, or to do a perfect segue to find the good and the bad.
Right.
Oh.
Find the good and the bad. There you go.
No, I've had a couple of situations come out of this that have definitely, they wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for lockdown. That are good situations, like. So, there's a silver lining to everything.
Yeah, I feel I'm the same way. My garden looks fantastic as well. Oh, not that I'm out in the garden when I'm slaving away playing songs and.
No, hey, more power to y'all, because I've found it so hard to be motivated to write music in this, and I feel like it's just taken time for me to completely separate myself from everything. So I think it's just different for each person. Some people have found inspiration. Like I saw a lot of my friends saying like, yeah, I've been writing songs every week. It's been so great. And I'm like, man, I sat by a piano and I just stared at it for like an hour. That's it.
Maybe you just needed to recharge your batteries. Also,
yeah.
you've got this album release, so your head is not in creating, it's
been in like
album out. It's on the different side of the brain, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think anyway.
Yeah, it has been more like, okay, how are we gonna do this in quarantine, like everything from home? But it's been a good challenge, and
you're gonna do a chat like this, David, and
do
talk about how the song was written.
Yes. So let's talk about the beginnings of this song. So it was
we got the train up.
The train?
The train. Choo-choo.
What's the train?
Oh, you're taking it.
Choo-choo train.
What choo-choo train?
You've lost him there.
David, how did we get to London? How did we get to London?
Oh. Sorry, I thought you were talking about something in Paul's studio. I was like, what?
I said we got the train and we went to the session.
Yeah, and it really, so this song, Good and the Bad, it's track 7 on this album that's Therapy Sessions. And I can't remember what exactly we were talking about, but I do remember the inspiring thing being, Paul, your track that you were coming up with and creating. So with this song, it started with, I think it started, correct me, this is where y'all can help me, but Paul started building a track, and it had this like sliding, it had that beat going, boom, 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 boom. And it had that guitar thing, boom, 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 which really then inspired the melody of the chorus of the song.
Yeah, my memory, because you two have been working together for, like you said, like 10 years, yeah. So you'd been, I can't remember when it was in the week, but I think you'd done a couple of other sessions. You might have even, I think you'd written with Sam the day before and written one of the other songs.
Right.
So you had a couple of things. So we had a chat for a while, and we're just kind of figuring out where we were sitting and discussing other references. And I think while you two were discussing concepts, the sort of first thing that came out of it, I believe, was this combination of sounds?
Love this, the skeleton of the
Yeah, this all the nice swelly things.
But it didn't have, at the beginning, it didn't have the
Oh yeah, that was I was playing like a chunk of the
You've got a
pre-chorus bit
good
there.
memory, David.
No, I just remember it was so inspiring when Paul had that come
Oh
up.
yeah, he always does that when he plays tracks, though, Paul.
Yeah.
Very inspiring.
But it's always just finding a groove in a pocket and something that will kind of work that can flow around.
And it just seemed like it was groovy, but it seemed something like positive as well. So that's why I was talking about looking for the positive when it doesn't seem like there's anything positive to look at, really. And thus
I think the thing is, I mean, when you said about doing this album, like the therapy session kind of thing, we spoke a lot about the lyrics, obviously.
right.
And the one thing that I really loved that you said to me was the fact that you wanted to make it more personal, and that I was just like, oh, this is really cool. And we also talked about maybe trying to bring it back a little bit more commercial, not commercial, but just a bit more current with sounds and production, and a bit more kind of global world sounding, and which I loved. But I know that when we both, I mean, we talk a lot, but we both, I think, do share this thing, which is the glass is half full, not half empty. So it's always looking for the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Situation. And it's also, though, about, I remember we were talking about this now, it's come back to me. We were saying about some, like when there's a lot of days that you don't feel yourself, or not you, but anyone, we can feel like it's hard some days. It's like being really honest. Okay, today I had to do an online interview show for the Ivers Academy, and my dad got rushed to hospital 2 hours before. And I'm like inside going, like having an anxiety panic attack. And then I've got to go on and be like, hi. And it's like that. It's finding that strength within yourself to just carry on and trying to keep going and to, like we said, to find the good and the bad.
Yeah.
And when it's all going wrong, just keep going and just you'll get there in the end.
What I always loved about the concept of it and the way you guys sort of wrote the lyrics was the idea of like you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, but there are these things you can do to turn your day around.
I love that.
Like your little things, one thing for me during this has been like, discovering extended walks around my area and totally new routes I can get into here and just like finding little hidden places out the way. But those things have really helped like break my day up and improve my mood when I do get here.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. But I like also.
It's finding about, it is, isn't it, though? It's about finding the little things within our lives. Because life can be a test sometimes, and it can be difficult for everyone, especially more so now than ever. And I think it's very easy for us just to go negative,
yeah.
and think, oh, this is bad, and we have to, even if the birds are singing, I know that sounds really hippie-ish, but it's true. Even if you've got beautiful, he knows because I send him videos of my garden going, listen to the birds. But it's about finding that, and even if like you go to a supermarket, David knows this as well, I will always ask the person if they're having a nice day, because it's just doing those little things to make the day better, isn't it? Yeah. I love what you said, Paul.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, David? You do that anyway, don't you?
Yeah, well, what I like about it is also it can be very easy. I think especially as an emotional person, it can be easy for me to let my emotions take me down whatever path of life it takes me. But emotions can also be pretty deceiving. So what I love about this song too, which I think shows a lot of V's nature and what I've learned from V being friends, is a lot of times you can't just let your emotions decide what you're going to do with your day, with the moment. Sometimes, like it says, when it all goes wrong, in the song it says, when it all goes wrong and you're having a moment. So like you're stuck in your emotions. The next line is a call to action. You got to go all out. Go bring back the sun out, which
Yeah.
I think is so good because it's not saying, well, don't worry, the sun will come, or like it's saying, go find that light. Go look for the good. It's not just going to come up in your face and say, oh, there it is. Now I feel better. It's sometimes it's about taking action. That's what I like about this song. It kind of motivates you. It's actually my workout song, which is weird having my own song as like, it's like when I'm like, okay, I don't feel like doing any more reps. I'm like done. I'm so tired. This song starts playing and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna push my body saying stop. I'm tired, but I'm like, you know what? I can push a little bit more, and it does. It gets me motivated, and it reminds me it's about your choice, and that we have more control over our minds than our emotions will make us believe sometimes.
I think the second, I love the second verse as well. It goes, you know, fear is like a magnet, it keeps pulling you pulling you down, or
fear is like a magnet.
You give, and I like this specific line, give a break to your mind, because I think it's like, give yourself a break. It's like, because our minds are so it's like, be nice to yourself, give yourself a break, stop being so harsh, like, you know what I mean, be positive.
Right.
Yeah, it's allowing yourself to treat yourself sometimes and be like, no, I'm going to do that thing for myself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to better the whole situation because you know, if you're in a better mood, then you can do better work and support everyone else better.
Right. So sometimes the action, I think that's also what I've learned just from my own therapy as well, and just from discovering and writing this album. This album is I feel like it was part of my therapy, but instead of like, that line is so important, give a break to your mind. So we're talking about call to action. A call to action isn't always, okay, now I've got to fill myself and be busy. Like maybe it's sometimes like how this quarantine has been for me, where, you know what, I'm not going to do any work. I'm going to give myself a break, and I'm just going to go just outside here.
Bed all day in my pajamas.
Or spend all the,
playing PlayStations and Nintendos, isn't it?
Or Nintendo Switch.
Nintendo. As soon as I said
That's been my thing. I have played a lot of Nintendo Switch during quarantine. I will say that. A lot of Nintendo Switch and a lot of The Office.
I think it's okay to do these things.
Yeah.
Because, you know, and another thing, it's like the opening line is, some days you can wonder what this life is all about. And then if you get like obsessed about a thought, you can't find your way out, can you? It's really thing. And then you start doubting. But the reality is that you can just give yourself time to think about it. Or you can, it's like seeing what perspectives and trying to see different perspectives on a situation.
Yeah.
But not only that, the lyric, I mean, with Paul's track here, I'm going to give you a compliment, Paul. I really feel you captured the moment. It's such a good, like, positive, upbeat vibe to the track. You just nailed it perfectly.
It had an optimism to it.
What I love too is that da da da. It's kind of like a bit of an angst as well to it. So it's like it lifts you, but at the same time, I feel like it can relate with you when you're having a hard time. Like when it does feel like everything's going wrong and you're worrying about things, it's saying, "Hey, look at it," but it feels relatable. It's like I see where you're coming from. I know what it's like. So I know what it's like to be there. So it has a combination of uplift, but I feel you.
Yeah.
I know what it's like. So I think
Paul,
that's
what made you, I was going to ask Paul about the bridge. Sorry, you broke out then, so I spoke over you. But Paul, what made you like inspired to do the bridge the way that you did it? I was always curious about that.
Yeah.
The bridge.
Yeah, what made you feel like you wanted to take it into that direction musically?
I think part of it was because the song does sit on that chord progression, because of the way it's, to get nerdy about it, the way it's sort of harmonically structured and it's got a turnaround on it. It can get sort of in its bit of a loop. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want it to feel like the whole thing was stuck on a loop. So I wanted to give it something, but I've always been a fan of those kind of rising chord progressions that give you a sense of it's going somewhere. And, you know, the whole record, the mantra of the record was kind of there. And I always loved the way you guys did the vocal arrangement in the the post chorus, because it's almost like a chant to yourself. The good in the bad, the good in the bad. It's almost like you're talking to yourself about it.
Is that with no music?
Pardon?
Is that with no music there?
Yeah, that's just the acapella.
God, what a shame we didn't do a section with no music. That sounds like a dance remix right there. In the dance club, I'd dance.
But also, I quite like the shape of it, because it's kind of the whole thing's got an up and down. The chord progression goes up and then back down, and yeah, it kind of gives it a breathing space for a minute for you to like be a bit self-reflective. Because if I remember right, the bridge lyrics are quite introspective in that sense. So it gives it a moment to have that, and there's been all this vocal arrangement, so it's a lovely moment just to have just the lead vocal without the backings and the doubles and everything.
Yeah, then you'll be just fine. You'll be living your best life. Open up your mind, and you'll be living your best life.
Yeah, it's like a self-affirmation kind of thing.
Right.
Which I really like.
What was also really fun is the way that you did this track, Paul. It allowed us to go almost like gospel-y with the melodies and just like for example, you realize it's been there all the time.
Yeah.
And then that part you're doing like the good and the bad when you find it. It just allowed it to be just get some soul in there, like really some swagger.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the chord progression's got that lovely little turnaround in at the sort of end of each time. But we've got those sort of nice modern sounds.
Yes.
There's some stuff in here that I'd forgotten was buried in there that I don't know if you even know about, David. There's all these samples of your voice chopped up in the back. That's good.
Really?
It's all just like random little samples of your voice.
Yes, I remember that.
Oh, the OP1! Yeah.
Endorse me, Teenage Engineering, please.
Nice.
Do you know, it's really nice to hear all the little bits that you've done in production.
I remember because I just got this thing at that time. I think I'd had it like a week or two.
Yeah, I was.
What else have you put in there, Paul? Is there anything else?
There's those little gems. Let me have a scroll through, because it's been a minute since. When did we write this song?
A while ago, but I've got something really funny to share with you both in a minute. But I'll tell you in a second.
I mean, this is something that I love, and if I was talking to a friend about this the other day, like someone who was a bit down because their song had come out and it wasn't doing as well as they could do. Or there's also a couple of guys that I'm mentoring for an education place near my studio, and they were saying, "Oh, I'm writing these songs and nothing's getting taken, and I feel a bit down about it." And I'm like, you know, these songs, these good works, sometimes they sit there for a couple of years and then they come out. You never know. So as long as you're doing your best work, then, you know, these things will come to fruition, which is something that I love. I kind of, obviously it's wonderful when songs do get to go out into the world and you actually have a date in your diary that it's coming out. But I think it's important to hold on to that optimism of like, no, I trust myself. I like what I'm doing here. So
that's really important to like it, isn't it? As long as we all like the song. So when you've done that, I've got to.
Yeah, I was just scrolling through. I always like the drums, and this was something I did, being British, in case no one's noticed, to pay homage to the American in the room, because I've always been a fan. I wish I grew up in an American marching band. There's all these drumline samples that I chopped up in the. There all that lovely American marching band. Ear candy points for anyone who notices that. They're all just buried in there.
Yeah, is that all the way through the song?
No, that's just in the post-chorus.
Oh, wow.
There's like a couple of little ones that happen throughout the song, like little rim fills and stuff, just in little pockets, but...
It feels so good. Oh.
So it really does. So I just got to share this with you. The reason I'm sniggering here is, you know, I don't know if you know that I tend to make notes lyrically when we're doing lyrics and everything. We would obviously been having a bit of a joke during this session. I don't know if
have you found the Word document?
Yeah, I found the Word document. And I don't know if either of you remember this, but apparently we had decided to write a song and make a joke about it called Daddy's Little Tractor Girl. featuring Old When I'm Young.
Oh, I remember that.
I don't
And we
remember that.
obviously also joked about freshly baked beets. Because I'd obviously written all this down because I
Oh, that's the weirdest deja vu.
Exactly, this is what happens. Yeah, when we did, so I think we were messing around, joking around, singing this country idea, going or something. Oh, when I'm young, for a giggle.
It's probably on one of your voice notes attached to the session.
So I always keep all these jokey stuff things. So that's what we were obviously laughing, and bits that didn't make it was get a ladder out when you're feeling something, and that will change your life. And take a look again. I know this much is true. So they obviously didn't make the final edit of the lyric.
Mm.
It was fun when you look back, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is fun.
They are freshly baked beets.
They are. They are. I pride myself on baking them 200 degrees for about 45 minutes.
Bring that heat.
Wrapped in tin foil.
But when I did this this vocal, what's funny is we did it just after we wrote the song, and I didn't really
it was the demo vocal. It was the day vocal, yeah.
Yeah, and usually I like put a lot into a demo vocal still just in case, but this one I thought, oh well, I'll re-record it, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. But I never did. It just remained as
it just worked, yeah.
The demo vocal, which is kind of funny.
Sometimes when you record the song the first time, David, you capture the magic. There's some I don't know, there's some essence of the song that's there. That moment of creativity suddenly comes through in the vocal. I really believe that sometimes it's best.
Even when I looked at it the first time, when I opened it up just before we jumped on, I looked at it, there's not really any comps in here. Like the chorus is one take with like 2 words changed, and the pre is like half of one take and half of the other, and the verses are whole takes.
Wow.
Like
angel voice.
It's just kind of pure, but because of that, it's not been overthought or over like perfected to be like everything's where it needs to be. It's just, it was right.
Oh, could you explain what a comp is as well?
A comp is where you record a bunch of takes of something, and then you edit them together to pick all your favorite parts for timing, tuning, character, whatever you want to try and find out of it. Mm-hmm. That's certainly been an interesting thing of lockdown because people have been recording themselves and having to comp themselves for the first time. And your experience with this, V, you know all about vocal production and how to like lay things out and the art of this, that, the other, and doing the timing and making sure, okay, I've got this. But yeah, it's been an interesting learning curve for some people. But yeah, when you comp a vocal, you're trying to find all the best bits. And some records you end up doing 100 takes and you have to put every little piece together to get it right. Or
how many vocals did we cut that day then? Just out of curiosity.
So there's the lead vocal, so that's the one. There's then trio of BVs on the pre. There's 6 on the chorus.
Wow.
There's another 4 on the post chorus, and then the little like answering phrase, which is another little quartet, and then an ad lib track. So that's like 20 or so. And then
so we did focus a little bit on it then. We wanted it to sound good then.
Oh yeah, there's a vocal arrangement. The only thing we didn't do though is because we kind of weren't thinking about it, and again because of this thing of like, oh well, we'll come back to it. It'll be revocaled another time. Is we never recorded any backing vocals on the pre-chorus.
Oh.
So there's actually ones that I created, the harmonized ones.
Then you'll be just fine. You'll be living your best life.
Yeah, that's all creative.
Open up your mind.
Yeah.
I love those.
You don't know those weren't real.
I forgot. I thought you just put. Did you do that with Echo? What's his name? Alter Boy or vocoder?
There's one with Alter Boy, and then there's one with my favorite, the Antares Harmony Engine, which is that like Imogen Heap sound.
Hang on.
Who's
Antares Harmony Engine.
Antares Harmony Engine. The same people that make Autotune. Antares.
Ah.
That is a trade secret, that one. I love that thing. Probably one of the best things I've bought in the last couple of years. But you can make it sound super, super human when you play with it and get the settings right.
I love what you did. I'm kind of glad we didn't record them because otherwise you wouldn't have done that. Happy accident.
And then
good in the bad.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Well, awesome, y'all.
Yeah, I'm so glad it's getting out there in the world. I just saw the artwork today as well, and I love it.